Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining me on the CAREOSITY CARECAST. I am your host, Jeremy Watkins. Well, today is February 19th, 2024, and it is President's Day here in America. And I wanted to kind of celebrate President's Day by giving you a quote from a past president, from Millard Fillmore. He was the 10th President of the United States of America. And this quote says, "An honorable defeat is better than a dishonorable victory." Well, in today's episode, I'm excited to announce that I'll be having a conversation with a guest. And this guest is going to bring her perspectives and experiences in caregiving. And I'm excited for you to hear and learn from her. So without further ado, let's get started.
Good morning.
Hi, good morning. How are you?
I'm doing great, Mr. Jeremy. How are you?
I'm doing very, very, very well. And I'm honored to have you on the podcast. Um, so your name is Cecily Baker, but you like to go by Ceece. Is that correct?
Yes, so the way to pronounce my name is Sicily, like Sicily in Italy.
Oh, gotcha. My apologies.
Yes, and the name Cece was given to me by the loved ones that I've had the opportunity to care for.
I see. Well, thank you so much for joining us, and I know your time is precious. I just wanted to say that I found you on TikTok, and I found that your content was great for caregivers, and I have shared your content from our Careosity business TikTok page, and have shared your content with the caregivers that currently work with me, and they love it as well.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're very welcome. So, Cece, I want you to talk about, first of all, your story and your experience in caregiving.
Okay. Well, my story started from the home. It started from the home, taking care of my grandfather back in the early 1980s. He was a small business owner, and he was working and he broke his neck. So my grandmother pulled all her children together and told them, we gonna have to take care of him at home. So as a child growing up in a home of caregiving, I learned and saw caregiving firsthand. I saw caregiving when we didn't have all the technology that we have now, the different types of medical instruments that they used back in the early 80s. Um, and my grandparents was praying people, very spiritual. And they believed in the power of prayer. And they believed that the power of prayer moved things if you prayed long enough for it and believed in it and trusted the process. So, growing up as a little girl, watching my mother and her siblings take care of their father, it grew in me. And from there, I have been a caregiver ever since. I've been a caregiver over 20 plus years now.
Wow, that's some great experience. And coming from an early age, my background as well is kind of in coming from my childhood in caregiving. My mother and my grandmother were both nurses, and they worked in facilities. But my memories from childhood is that they were working in private homes, caregiving for elderly people. And I remember my mom working all hours of day and night, and we would have to, stay with my grandparents or, as kids, as my mom, was caregiving at all
Right.
hours of the day and night. So yeah, that's kind of my background too. So it's kind of coming from a childhood experience as well. I guess it runs in the blood, huh?
It do, and of course you have your skill set experience when you work in facilities. It can be mental health rehabilitation facilities that have the shared care homes. That's the type of caregiving as well. Working in nursing homes as a CNA. slash caregiver working in assisted living or independent living or long-term care.
Hmm.
You know, there's so many different levels of caregiving, and I'm grateful that I've had an opportunity to experience them all.
Absolutely. Yeah. Me
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, so, due to the experience, I started my own agency. It's called Be Patient Caregiving. We're located in Spartanburg, South Carolina. And I started during COVID. I started when everybody else was shutting down.
Mm,
Yeah, I did. I saw a need in our community. I was listening to the conversations because word of mouth travels and people
mhm,
talk, especially among church communities. Individuals who life was stopped because of the academic crisis that we was going through. So it stopped, and people was at home didn't know how to care for their loved ones because they were so used to the facilities and the agencies coming in and doing it for them. They didn't know what to do. So
mhm.
I said, this is an opportunity to get out here and help these families that's in need.
Wow. Wow, that's a great story. I love that startup story. So, how long had you thought about starting your own company before you did?
Well, 2017, I applied for a business license when I realized that this is the way I should go. I went
Hmm.
to school for other things. I've been to college, got college degrees, but it just seemed like the phone never stopped ringing for people saying, "Hey, do you still do caregiving? Do your family still take care of people?" Because we have that background.
Hmm.
And when those phone calls keep coming, and I'm like, okay, well, maybe this is my calling. Maybe this is because I was still trying to figure out, well, what do I want to do with myself? Um, so I just sat down one day and I wrote down all of my skill set, and I realized that I had a lot of skills in taking care of people,
Hmm.
being there for them. And so I decided to start this journey and see, where it could go. In the beginning, it was roadblocks because you have to have so much money for this and you have to have so much money for that. In my mind,
Hmm.
how can I advance the service to families in need without having to pay this high expensive cost to get started?
Right.
And COVID was a blessing for me, where others it wasn't so much of a blessing. And I was able to spread the services and create new services and be creative as a master listener, listening to the needs in the home.
Hmm. Yeah, that's a huge quality in any kind of caregiving is listening to people's needs and knowing what people's needs are. Um, so you kind of touched a little bit on some struggles you had. What, were there any other struggles that you had when starting up your own home care business?
Absolutely. Anytime you're starting up in home care, you're going to always have the risks that are like sitting right there in front of you. The biggest risk is caregivers. Biggest risk is finding adequate caregivers, finding caregivers with a mindset. It's all about that mindset when going into that home
Hmm.
and what teaching them to structure other home, teaching them how to take care of the client with a effective care plan, teaching them the family dynamics. There's a lot, teaching them boundaries
Hmm.
when it's going into the home, what to do and what not to do. And these caregivers, we have to vet them. We have to make sure they have a clean background. I have a passion. It's in my heart. The I start immediately, when I'm looking for caregivers and, I'm getting that feel for that caregiver. The first thing is always getting a feel for the family and the client, talking to the family, understanding their expectations and communicating with that family during that time, because at that moment it's so easy for families to give other people advice, but then when it comes to you, it's like all that goes blank. What
Mm.
do I do? So when you're talking to these families, they're looking for you to actually to answer questions in their mind that they really don't know how to ask. Um, so getting to know that family, your master listening, understanding their expectation, answering a question, and ruling out a lot of expectations that really don't have anything to do with the care of the client. the biggest thing is letting these families know, hey, we are here for the client and the caregiver. Um, because you're get caught up in the emotional side of the family members, and you get caught up into catering to their emotions and not logic. And sometimes the emotions are for them and it's not for the client. Then the client still has a need that's not met because you didn't come in and sit down with the family to create a centered care plan for that loved one.
Mm.
So a lot of people will have to understand that this is serious. This is a person that we're taking care of. This is logic. So that's why entities have policies and procedures in place so they can effectively take care of that person that needs the care without all the extra emotionals that come with it. And we understand those emotionals. We really truly do. But it makes a big difference when we can actually care for the client and their needs.
Yes. So, talk more about the care plan. What is your process in going in and creating a care plan?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So the care plans for the private pay side, you go into the family and you sit down, you book an appointment, and you come in with your forms and documents that help you to ask the necessary questions pertaining to that person. And a lot of times my care plan starts on the phone, and then it starts when I get in my car and I'm traveling to the house, pulling up to the house. Is there stairs going into the home? Is there a wheelchair ramp outside? I'm looking at this, the doorways and things like that. And you come into the home, creating that space, helping the families understand what is needed in the home. I always tell families, whatever you do, when you have a loved one in your house, treat your home as if it's a facility,
Mm.
as if it's a facility. Make things nice and neat and clean for your loved one. Make the pathways in the hallway, the pathways in the rooms clear for them. Kind of move the furniture that has the corners on it out of the way so they don't bump into those things. Move rugs. Rugs are a fall risk. Move those rugs out of the way to make sure those rugs are not going to cause that individual to fall and trip. I tell families, make sure you have the necessary medical equipment in the home to make caregiving easier for the loved one, not for us. But yes, we do have to take care of ourselves at the same time. We don't want any back issues or back injuries. So
Mhm.
it's good to have this medical equipment. It's good to have the medical bed. It's good to check the bathroom out because most falls are in between the toilet and the tub. You know, make room. Sometimes you may have to declutter, move things out of the way for them because when you walk into facilities and you see these loved ones, you don't see all those things.
Mm.
You see clear pathways. That's what you see. You see pathways that will not have a high number of fall risk. It's a process of eliminating issues that will hinder the care process of this loved one. So that's the first thing we do. We go in and we talk about these things and we ask questions and they ask us questions and they want to know, okay, what do I need to make this better? And we always talk about bars, putting bars in the home
Yeah.
so that the loved one can have bars to gravitate to, bars in the bathroom. And they will ask you, what do you put these bars in the bathroom? And they're always around the toilet and they're always in the shower. We actually like to go into the home and help them set it up.
Yeah.
The first time caregivers are my heart desire because I know what they look like. I remember when we had to transition in our home to get our grandfather ready to come home from the hospital. So
Mm.
going into the homes, helping these family members transition into the caregiving status for their loved ones is the sigh of relief that we get knowing that we helped you and we helped you make sense of a situation where you just didn't know what to do. You like, God, this is a lot.
Yes, but it is so good.
Yeah, and it makes a difference because then that loved one feel like I can do this,
Mm.
and then we do education. We do knowledge. I get online and I do videos, and then I send materials. We have books to help them, and teaching them how to to deal with incontinent issues, teach them how to get their loved one to drink water, teach them
Mm.
how to fix meals pertaining to their care needs, um, putting a schedule together, because a schedule is very important when you have a dementia client,
Absolutely.
and having that consistency. And they ask us about the background of your caregivers, and all of our caregivers, they have a caregiver certification that I
Mm.
use for my onboarding process. It makes sense. Um, and to know this background and get to know these caregivers. And even though I am a business owner, I still work as a caregiver every single day. I still get up, put my uniform on, and go into the home and care for clients.
Me too. Absolutely.
It's like that's my joy. That's my happy place, to be in there with those clients and take care of them, and make sure they're okay, and see those smiles and interact with them and have those conversations. And I love it. The senior community is the most valuable community that we have.
Mm.
Um, their knowledge is a knowledge that this younger generation will never understand.
Yeah,
They
you're
will
right.
they will not get to experience um those conversations. Like, wow, it's amazing.
You mentioned books. Do you recommend any books right off the top of your head for caregivers?
So there's a website. It's called the National Health Association, and I can send you the link where you can get free educational materials on caregiving. You can get free materials on end of life expectations. You can get free books on dementia. You can get free books on meals and how to prepare meals.
Mm.
Um, it is one of the resources that was given to me when I was out telling people that I wanted to start an agency, and what are some of the things that I was offering. And I said, I want to offer education.
Mm.
I said,
That's
I want to help families understand what they're about to see.
yeah. Yeah,
And
definitely send me that link, please
yes,
do.
I would definitely send you that. It's amazing. And also, from the skill set that you have, people don't understand that the skill set you have, you can create educational videos on your own, like your experiences with incontinent care. You can
Mm.
sit down and write those tips down, and you can do anywhere from a 3 minute to a 10-minute video on incontinent care steps. And you
Yes.
can always say this is by personal experience. You can teach people how to. You can advise them on medical stuff like pads, bed pads,
Mm.
um, urine cups, briefs,
Yes.
diapers. You can teach people how to open them up and use them. A lot of people don't know that. Also, you can teach individuals how to change their loved ones in the bed.
Mm.
Rolling from left to right safely. Um,
Yeah.
you can teach them where to go to get the medical supplies, like Walgreens. We have Walgreens in South Carolina, CVS,
Mhm.
and you can get those incontinent supplies there or order them online. And so many, the skill set that you have in you, you can create videos to help individuals in the home, first time caregivers.
I think that was my uh, initial attractiveness to your TikTok videos was because the education aspect. I don't really see that a lot on social media. So when I came across you, it was like a breath of fresh air.
Yeah, I see individuals. I'm learning TikTok to expand my platform, um, to create a caregiving community, where we can share these videos and tag one another and repost without it costing us anything. What I see is people actually in the home with their personal loved ones, and they use that as their platform where they
Mhm.
actually show what this care look like, show what this type of dementia looks like. For those who don't understand, dementia comes before Alzheimer's. Alzheimer's does not come before dementia. Alzheimer's is a type of dementia.
Yes.
um, Lola body dementia, Parkinson's dementia. There's so many of them, and
Mm.
that's what I see where family members they're making the best of it, and they're showing how they care for their loved ones. So some people actually get to see what that looked like, where in me, with me being a business owner, we have HIPAA.
Mm.
We have to be careful. So I'd rather just teach you and offer all the education that's in me that's not meant for me but meant for others than, to cause myself any issues later, because we have to protect the privacy of the loved ones that we are taking care of.
Absolutely. Do you use technology for documentation and scheduling and things of that nature?
Yeah, so we do. We have to use. You find your platforms that's good for you. Like, you can get forms. Like, there's a company out of Canada. They do non-medical in-home care templates and non-medical in-home care forms and stuff that help
Mhm.
you to coordinate your business correctly. So you use these documents to keep your record keeping, to keep
Yeah.
up with your phone calls. And also in the home, we journal in the home. you know um the good thing about me is when I meet families, I answer the question of security.
Yes.
So I always tell my families, first of all, turn that home, that space, into a facility, clean it out, only put in there what they need: a bed, a nightstand, a dresser,
Mhm.
a TV, a lounge chair for the caregiver, a chair for your client. Clean it out and just, keep the minimum in that room. And also cameras. I tell families, get the two-way cameras that have a speaker on it so you can talk to your loved ones. That helps you with your trying to get individual to help you care for your loved ones. So if your loved one can stay at home by themselves but you worry, get you some two-way cameras that you can buy on Amazon. You pay for that camera one time, it's yours.
Mhm.
And it's called Blink, Blink. I'm not a Blink representative. I just want to tell you guys, Blink are a good security camera to have when you have elderly loved ones or disabled loved ones in the home.
Mhm.
I want to put that disclaimer out there.
Yeah.
And long as you got Wi-Fi, you don't have to pay another bill for having the cameras. You set the cameras up in good places so you can see your loved one, you can hear your loved one. Also, if you know that you working 8, 10, 12 hours a day and you're away from home and you have caregivers, you have scheduled caregivers coming in and out of your home, it's good to have those cameras. Now, you can use those cameras to keep up with your clock in and clock out time so you can know how much money you need to pay them on a private level.
Mhm.
Also, it helps you keep up with your loved one's schedule if they have physical therapy or occupational therapy or speech therapy coming in to see about them, or if they have like companies called SC House Calls that are doctors that travel to the home to see the client, registered nurses that come in to see the client, in home healthcare coming in to see the client. Um, Whatever the case may be, it's good to have those cameras in the home to make sure that your loved one is taken care of. And
Absolutely.
it's going, I mean, not to micromanage, but it's for the security of your loved one. So
Yeah, security, safety for supervision is what I call it.
right. And so that's part of our plan when we go into the home and we sit down with the family to start shifting into the first time caregiver is. We tell them, you can get cameras and have the app on your cell phone, the screening of the caregivers, making sure they got a really good background, that you can trust them and they're very, the caregiving down to earth, in your spirit type caregivers that know exactly what's going on and connect with your loved ones, because your loved ones going to tell you if the caregiver is good or not. They have a spirit,
Yes.
so they're going to know, this lady is really who she say she is, and the family's going to feel all of you guys are going to line up together.
Yeah. In my company, Careosity, we have what we call Care Match. And what it is I basically match caregivers to clients, not only with skill set, but personality as well.
Yes, yes. You have to have the personality. When we do the interview process, the interview is over the phone, and then you come in, and then you come in again. So we actually I make sure, and I'm always the first caregiver on the scene. I work
Mhm.
clients first. I do it one at a time, and then I match the caregiver after I've worked the client first. The reason why I go in first is we rule out any issues that may come up later.
Mhm.
We create an effective care plan that flows with the client's life and their loved ones. We get the POA, find out. So when you have a family that the mother or father has multiple children, you need to get, that's why you learn the family dynamics, to get down to who is that one person that you communicate with. If you do not, you'll find yourself communicating with all of them, and all of them are going to have their different mindset for their loved one, their different emotions for their loved one, and then it can cause a ruckus later. It can be confusing issues, and if you have to rule that out from the beginning and you stick to that one contact person and let that person be the spokesperson for the family, it makes caregiving a lot easier.
We were talking about addressing any concerns about in home care, and you were going over a lot of things about care planning. I'd like to, if you don't have anything else to add to that, the next thing I'd like to talk about is advice for caregivers.
Yes, also, before we get into the advice for, well, yeah, this would be advice for caregivers and family caregivers. It is so imperative that you get knowledge. If you cannot
Yes.
pay for services, there is some resources I can give you. Allison, ALISON, is a wonderful platform for caregivers to get
Okay.
free education. Also, Care Academy. And again, I'm not a representative for these companies, you guys. I'm a researcher. I'm continuing to educate myself so I can be the best I need to be to the loved ones that need our care. A Care Academy is a good one as well, as UCLA Dementia and Alzheimer's is on YouTube. They have the most amazing caregiving videos. OMG. It's just really amazing.
That's
And
awesome.
I had an opportunity to go down to, is it Kenshaw University in Georgia?
Hmm.
I think it's Kenshaw or Kershaw. Y'all don't get upset with me for pronouncing it wrong. They have the called the Second Wind Dementia Tour by Teppa Snow, Teepa Snow, and she is amazing on YouTube. I cried when I went down. I wanted to take the tour. I wanted to know what it is like to walk in the shoes of a dementia patient. If you had the opportunity to walk in the shoes of a dementia patient to know what their five senses are experiencing, would you do it?
Wow. Yes.
To provide a better centered care around the individual in the home, would
Mhm.
you take a group of people with you and go through this tour together so you guys can provide better services to that person that is going through some type of dementia? And it was all worth it. I stopped in the middle of the tour and I started crying because
Mhm.
I actually felt like a dementia patient.
Yeah.
She told me to fold clothes, and she gave me two more things to do. But my ears was constricted, my eyesight was constricted, my hands were constricted, my feet were constricted. Those are our five major senses that are affected by dementia.
Wow.
And I understood what it was like to be looking at somebody and they're talking to you, and you can't, in the background is louder than the person that you're talking to. That's dementia.
Hmm.
Your feet feeling like they're going to sleep. all day long, feeling like you got needles, that's dementia.
Yeah.
Your hands feeling like they're swollen and can barely bend your joints and your fingers, that's dementia. Your vision being constructed to just the tip of your nose, that's dementia. We really do not know what dementia clients physically, mentally, and emotionally go through.
Yeah.
We have no clue. It is so imperative to get yourself educated. If you don't have the money, go to YouTube University. COVID brought out a lot of educational platforms. Um, IDEMY, IDEMY. Get you some certifications that are um, non-expensive, that helps the family, the side relief, to know, okay, this caregiver, she not only have a family experience, but she have skill experience, and she took the time out to educate herself and study the things that she see with her client. And I tell families this all the time: first time caregivers, please, go on YouTube and tap into some of these dementia outlets that are on there, because you're going to start seeing things that you never seen before. When your loved one refused to take a bath, why is she refusing to take a bath? The
Mhm.
temperature in the bathroom needs to be warm times 10 for them.
Yeah.
Their metabolism is not moving as fast as ours anymore. They're not generating that heat, so we have to bring the heat to them. Always go ahead and have the water turned on so they can feel that warmness coming from around the shower curtain.
Mhm.
Make sure you have everything they need in the bathroom before you even start the process of getting them prepared to go into the bathroom. Make sure it's warm and friendly, and you got them by the hand and you're showing them love on the way into the bathroom. And some family members have even had to go, even put on a bathrobe, on top of their clothes, so that they'll be like,
Mhm.
okay, you're taking a bath too. Yes, ma'am, I'm taking a bath too. You know, you have to find the most creative ways to make a person comfortable
Yes.
when it comes to that. Just like eating, I'm sorry.
Oh no, you're fine. I was just gonna add in there that um, it's all about empathy. Putting yourself in someone else's shoes, and I love that experience you talked about. About learning what it is to feel like a dementia patient. I felt like maybe that increased your empathy for Alzheimer's and dementia patients. Empathy really goes a long way,
Yeah.
you know. And I feel like the more educated we are, the more empathetic we can be.
And you just said a mouthful. I became more empath when I realized I was doing it wrong. When I
Mm,
went down and took the dementia tour and I realized I was doing it wrong, it changed my just everything. Especially the biggest thing is the delusions. If your loved one say, "Look at there, look, look at that baby sitting in that chair," don't go against it. When I
mhm,
learned what dementia is to the eyesight, those are shadows,
yeah,
and it may look like that to them. But you engage that conversation. You don't tell them it's not there. You don't tell them that's not what they say. What I do is say, "Really? What does she got on? Can you tell me what she have on?" You engage and make them feel comfortable in that space, because deep down inside they're scared. But they
yeah,
tell you they're scared. They're just opening up that conversation with you because you are the next person to them in that room.
hmm,
And you engage and you love on them, but you know in your mind that it's not there, but you can't see what they see. So, like one of my clients, I took her to the doctor, and I was telling her that my client said she has a baby in the bed with her. And she said, "How often?" I said, "It's pretty often." She said, "How do you know she's not seeing that?" And it just changed my outlook.
yeah,
She said, "We're not there to see what she see."
right,
And she said, "It's better to engage." A physician told me that.
hmm,
And I've been engaging ever since.
yep, that's it.
Yeah. So,
Do you have any other advice for caregivers?
um, Be mindful, be patient, please. Please leave family issues, your issues outside of the door going into the home. And we know it's just not enough of time in a day to get all their needs done. But if you journal, get a notebook, keep it in the home,
Mhm.
and write down the things you see or hear. Leave that journal there. Be consistent. Look online. Help. If you're having an issue with a client and you don't understand what it is, stop, back up, clear your mind, clear that space, and get you some research to understand what you need to do properly to fix the issue. Family members, it take a village to care for a loved one at home. Have a system
Mm.
in place to help you and your loved one. If you don't have family dynamics, that's what systems come in place. You can get the security cameras online to help you take care of loved one.
Mhm.
You have medical equipment, your walkers, your Hoyer lifts, your gait belts, disposable pads in the drugstore to help with incontinent care. It's wintertime, you guys. I know light bills and electric bills are very high, and I know a lot of people keep their systems in between 69 and 73.
Mhm.
The best thing to do is put your loved one in layer. Fleece blankets, jogging suits, fleece nightgowns, pajama pants, socks. Make sure you cuddle them in their beds or in their space. And I understand you're trying to keep your budget at a minimum. So when it's cold outside and it's wintertime, you bring the layers to them so that you can continue to maintain the financial responsibility in the home.
Awesome advice. You know, you've thrown a lot of really good resources my way. I just want to throw one good resource your way. Um, I my company uses a an app called Verify Care. I don't know if you've ever heard of it.
Yes.
You have.
Yeah.
Well, we use that. And
Yes.
it has been a lifesaver as far as oversight of care. I'm really big on making sure that all care with all clients has my personal oversight.
Yes.
And that app really makes it possible.
Yeah.
Um, that's the one, and that app, we set up our care plans using that app. We add medications, so everything is on a schedule. The app gives caregivers reminders of medications that are due, any events, or the whole caregiver schedule for that client, and it's all HIPAA compliant you know
Absolutely. I love that app. That's a really good app to use and to have to make sure. And we do a lot of background checks. We do the criminal background check. We do the National Registry for Sex Offenders. We do the DMV background check, just because if you're taking a loved one to a doctor's appointment, we need to know, how are you with driving? Those that stuff matter because that comes with your insurance for your company. You can get sued for that.
Hmm.
And we kind of back off on the medications. We do medication reminder, but we encourage the family to produce those medications. Reason is that is a huge, huge, huge liability.
Yes.
So if your loved one is in charge of them, so if the POA is in charge of the medications,
Hmm.
and they have morning and evening, and they have the setup where you're supposed to distribute the medication, but they're the one putting the medication in the case.
Yes.
What if the POA accidentally put a wrong pill in there,
Hmm.
and you got it in the care plan for that caregiver to administer that medication, but she was not the one that put the medications in the medication case.
Right.
And she give that medicine to that client, and that client has side effects that cause them to may have to go into the hospital ICU.
Hmm.
The family is going to automatically fault you and your company.
Absolutely.
So that is a conversation that we have face to
Mm.
face, and we sit down and talk about that. So we just do medication reminders. We try our best not to get involved in that. Also, any skilled care medication needs. That's a big one too for caregivers. We always have a resource of recommendations that we help. So our caregivers don't be out of place or feel that they shouldn't be doing something that they're not licensed or certified to do. We make sure that we have resources like SC House Calls, and I don't know if it's SC House Calls is up in Virginia that could help people, that could be a resource as well.
Yeah, I'll have to check into that.
And also, sometimes these long term care facilities may have medication classes where you can get a community long term care certification to give medicine in the home only.
Hmm.
Um, because they have them when they train in the med techs, when some of these agencies train their own med techs, but they can't take that certification to another facility.
Yes.
Yeah.
I really love the advice you gave on the medication, and that I reiterate that to the caregivers constantly. Um, and we do have, since it is, private in-home care here in Virginia, and as long as there is a primary caregiver, we are able to assist with administering medication um, to a certain point.
Right.
Uh, but another thing that my company tries to do is we try to make sure that each client gets their consistent caregiver or caregivers,
Yeah.
uh, because consistency is key in everything, just like you said in your video.
Hmm.
Consistence, consistency.
Yeah.
So yeah, we strive all the time to make sure that clients are paired with caregivers that are going to be there, through everything.
Right. Absolutely.
Uh,
Be there for the long haul.
hmm Another thing I like about the Verify Care app is that you can invite family members into the app for that particular client. You don't have to invite only caregivers. You can invite family members that are interested in keeping up with how the care is going, and I promote that a lot in my company
And that
because
would be great if Vericare also would allow you to add other apps. Say, for instance, one of your clients has an electronic caregiver in the home,
yes,
and that way the family can keep up. And I used to be a salesperson for electronic caregiver. I love the electronic caregiver.
okay.
Um, that could be added to the app so the family
Mhm.
can keep up with their loved ones and can actually see them moving on the screen. That would be amazing.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, it has pros and cons, but I see more pros than I do
that's
cons.
good. That's
For sure.
amazing. Yeah.
And so, do you have any other advice for caregivers?
No, also, yes, for family caregivers and you have loved ones that have dementia that cause them to travel. That means
Mm.
they leave the home. Please get some type of electronic advice, through Medicare, or if you can afford out of pocket. Look into some of these electronic caregivers. Um, it's actually called electronic caregiver. Look it up. It's a watch that has a GPS system on it, and it has a necklace that has a GPS system on it. This system is can be used when there is no signal, there's no satellite signal, there's no electricity. It still can be used.
Wow, that
Um,
is amazing.
so please, I hear in the wintertime, dementia clients getting lost. A lady died, and they was
Hmm.
looking for her. I saw it on TikTok. She was in her backyard, down in some bushes the whole entire time.
Yeah,
Had her family had an electronic caregiver, some type of tracking device on her, it could have picked up that that's where she had, and it could have saved her life. It was, a month later before they found that she was there the whole time in her own yard, and they was thinking that she was a miles. They was thinking she was miles away. So
right.
that's my other advice. Make sure you get your tracking devices for the safety of your loved one, not because you don't feel that they should be tracked. No, to make sure they're okay, because you don't know when they're gonna get in the car in their mind may shift.
Yeah.
Um,
Very true.
So yeah, that's my advice to you caregivers out there. My heart and passion is for you guys. I'm glad to have linked with Mr. Jeremy so we can share our passion on this podcast and reach more individuals in the caregiving community spectrum.
Mm,
And I hope that what we talked about today helps you provide a more centered care around your loved ones in the home.
absolutely. Wow, that's just so amazing. Thank you so much for joining us for that. And that's what this podcast is all about: is providing resources uh, to caregivers and family caregivers. I wanted to add to the last thing, the last story you told about the lady that wandered out of her home. Uh, th- in December of 2023, the Washington Post put out an article that I just happened to come across here recently. Said that since 2018, there have been over 2,000 reported cases of elderly wandering from assisted living facilities and nursing facilities. And of those over 2,000 cases that had been reported, God knows how many have not been reported. Over 100 of them resulted in the death of the elderly person that wandered away.
Yes.
And a lot of the reasons behind these elderly people that are wandering away from homes and facilities is, uh, uh, well, not from homes, but from facilities, is negligence. And the negligence is a result of low staff. And the low staff results into burnout of more caregivers. And it's just a vicious cycle. And it, I that is why I'm in business, is because I have worked in facilities, and I have worked myself to the bone uh, to make sure that my residents had someone there to take care of them. I was working double, triple shifts for weeks in a row um, because of staffing issues. And I
Yes.
had to take over 2 weeks off to recover from that.
Yes. That
Um,
that shows that caregiving is a continuation. That
yes,
that shows that there is a need in our community. There is enough room for individuals to start agencies with a passion and educate their staff, build up their business model to be able to effectively care for individuals. And our industry is going to get worse,
hmm,
as individuals continue to live longer and care, and these facilities have these waiting lists of individuals. We're going to start getting into shared homes soon, because I want me
yeah,
a shared home where we are putting individuals in living room setting homes to facilitate the caregiver needs.
right.
It's gonna get worse. It's gonna, it's gonna, as long as we continue to live, it's gonna continue to grow, and there always will be a need. That's why it's so imperative, and I repeat that to say that knowledge, education, teaching individuals, helping these first time caregivers in the home, even, the medical industry is starting to allow certain trainings in the home when it comes to taking care of the needs of our loved ones, especially in pediatrics, taking care of children and teaching, LPNs and CNAs and caregivers and family members, to provide some of these care acts at home that would cost so much money to keep running back and forth to facilities.
Hmm. You're
So
absolutely
you hit on a good subject.
right.
And yeah, people, there's enough of work for everybody. There's enough,
Absolutely.
spread around. And yeah, we have to really be careful and watch over our loved ones, because the numbers are there. The statistics are there when it comes to negligence and not
Mm-hmm.
caring, having an effective plan to care for our loved ones, and that's
Hmm.
why we created Be Patient Caregiving has a concierge program where we solve that. And we said, well, what if we create a program where we go into these facilities and we are secondary to the loved one to help see
Mhm.
about their loved ones, providing, laundry services, providing outings, providing, we take them to Bible study programs and stuff. The good thing about it is we don't leave them. We're not an Uber or a Lyft. No, we actually stay with them the whole entire time to make
Mhm.
sure that they get that time out, spending with them, virtual phone calls, calling them, setting up times that we get on the phone and talk to them, those type of needs to try to target some of that negligence that we're seeing, making a difference in your services that you provide and expanding those services slowly but surely with, showing with an example, hey, this is what we offer you. You can buy our bundle package of hours and use some hours as you please on the calendar with a 4-hour minimum so we can
Mhm.
help, so we can help target some of those issues that we're seeing.
Wow, that is amazing. You are doing exactly what Curiosity has set out to do. You are making a way, making our industry better.
Yeah,
You are a definitely a leader in our industry, and I applaud you and thank you so much for your
yeah,
effort.
absolutely. Thank you.
You bet. Is there any social media platforms you'd like to promote?
Yeah, so we are on Facebook, you guys. Be patient caregiving, as it is sound. Be patient caregiving, because caregiving is patient.
Mm,
We have a social media page on Facebook. We have Be Patient Caregiving on Instagram. We have I Care on TikTok, and if you on SoundCloud, we have CC Cares. We are actually putting together our first annual Caregiver Excellence Award ceremony. It will be July the 27th in Chesney, South Carolina, at the Chesney Community Center. And I am so excited to be putting this together to represent the caregivers in our area and the agencies, to help cut down on caregiver retention, to help provide caregiver knowledge, and um, help bring small agencies and small businesses together to surround these caregivers and give them the needs, give them what they need. That is our goal. Is to make this the first successful event. Um, we are hoping to provide scholarships to our
mm,
Gen Z caregiver. Yes. And a lot of people forgot about the Gen Z caregivers. The Gen Z caregivers are the children that had to change homes for whatever the case may have been in the past, where they
mm.
went from staying with parents to grandparents. The grandparents end up adopting these kids. Now these kids are 18, 19, and 20,
Yeah.
changing roles. They're getting ready to go into college or already in college, but they are a unpaid caregiver. So let's help them by providing a small scholarship, because they're unpaid and they're taking care of this individual that took care of them. Our sandwich generation. The sandwich generation is me and you, Mr. Jeremy. We are
Mhm.
the meat in between the loved ones that we're taking care of in our families.
Absolutely.
So
Wow.
yeah, so we're having our excellent awards here in Chesney, South Carolina, which is the outside county of Spartanburg, and I'm looking forward to getting some caregivers monetary gifts, door prizes. We're actually going to have a fashion show. It's going to be cute. Caregiver etiquette. I think it's a big thing that a lot of agencies should talk about when it comes to uniform, how your caregivers should look. Um,
Hmm.
Caregiving etiquette also talks about the conversations in the home. Be careful what she say. Her cell phone. When should she have a cell phone out, or should she even be using her cell phone? How they dress in uniform, hair. Hair makes a difference. It can get in the way when you're bending over trying to do incontinent care. Your nails. You can accidentally scratch a client if you're turning them from left or right.
Oh,
Um,
that's a big one.
being able to be identified. If you're in a home and there's a lot of family members, we need to identify you as the caregiver, not the family member. You know, so
Right. For sure.
it makes sense. All
For
these
sure.
things you got to think about.
Hmm.
So
It is
yeah,
so much, and since it is so much, it's going to take an army of us to get this corrected and going the way that private care should go.
Absolutely. So we are Be Patient Caregiving. Our email is Be Patient Caregiving, all one word with the number one at gmail.com. Our phone number is 803-626-1319. 803-626-1319. And yeah, that's us. And we are a small private caregiving agency that is taking our time with growth through experience and education and knowledge, and building relationships with Mr. Jeremy and his company. It's like building a caregiving community.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
that's what we need to be, a community.
Yes.
Well, I want to thank you so much, Cece, for everything you talked about. And I definitely want to get you back on for future episodes, if you'll allow me.
I am ready.
Awesome.
This is not coincidence. I think this getting ready to grow and go somewhere. I feel it,
Yes,
and
ma'am.
I'm looking forward to taking the risk and joining forces with you and building, up this coastal area that we live in. Because I'm not too far. I'm in South Carolina and you're in Virginia, so we just 2 states away,
Yep,
right? And
that's
it's
it.
two. Okay.
Takes about 8 or 9 hours to get to you.
And see, that's not bad. So we may be working on something that's getting ready to start growing in
For sure.
2024, and I'm definitely looking forward to it.
I'm down with it.
Yes,
Well, all
yes.
right. Well, thank you so much. And please keep going with what you're doing. I know a lot of times you can get discouraged. Me personally, I have been discouraged before, but we just got to get up and keep going, right?
That's right. Don't get discouraged. Always keep a clear mind and heart. When you get discouraged, think of your why.
Hmm.
Keep your why with you at all times. That helps you when you get discouraged. Why am I doing this? What is your why? Why is your spirit leading you in this direction? Keep that with you, and that'll help direct you every time. Help
Hmm.
redirect you.
So, so good. Man, I'm excited about this. All right. Well, thank you so much again, CC, and we will talk to you soon.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. God
All right.
bless.
God bless.
Bye.
Bye.
Well, there you have it, friends and family of the Careosity universe. That was CC, and I hope that you enjoyed listening to this talk. And I hope the information that was shared and discussed really helped you out as a caregiver. Thanks again so much for listening to the Careosity Carecast. I am Jeremy Watkins. Be well.